Well, listeners, what's on my mind this morning is the situation at Calabar High School. It just, several things about it just don't sit right with me. The physics teacher, Sanjay Shah, he alleges he was assaulted by two of the school's track stars. And then just the way how the school has handled the matter, or I probably should more appropriately say not handled the matter, really just doesn't sit right with me. In my opinion, they've done an extremely poor job. Most of you by now have heard the backstory. Mr. Shaw, who's not just a physics teacher, by the way, he's the head of the entire physics department and also teaches robotics, was hosting a physics camp, and apparently he borrowed some mattresses from the track team. The athletes looked like they came to confront the teacher and in the process allegedly assaulted him and damaged his phone. All this happened 3 months ago, all the way in December. According to Mr. Shaw, when he first complained about the assault, he was informed by a top official, didn't say who, that the athletes were ambassadors and was asked whether he wanted the suspension of ambassadors. Okay, so is this the behavior that you expect and endorse of your ambassadors? Is this how ambassadors are to represent the school? Or is it that you're saying your ambassadors have diplomatic immunity? Is that what it is? So after much protest by Mr. Shaw and 3 months of it almost, the school finally suspended the boys for a week earlier this month, but then allowed them to continue training at the school for champs, that big event. And then in a most fascinating statement, the acting principal, Calvin Rowe, you saw the statement? You heard of it, Patria?
I didn't read it.
He said, "It ought to be noted that both punitive measures were aimed at addressing a matter of disobedience to a teacher's directive and not for assault, which we could not validate independently and with sufficient conviction." So the suspension that they finally gave after months of lobbying by Mr. Shaw was not for assaulting the teacher, but for not following his rules to not come in the classroom, his order to not come in the classroom. So you couldn't validate the assault, and I'm just thinking, was there not a room full of witnesses? Because Mr. Shaw was holding a physics camp at the time, and they spoke to this reported video not being forthcoming. The statement doesn't say whether they ever asked the physics students in the room what happened, because that would be evidence, a room full of eyewitnesses. And also, I've been wondering, since when is a teacher's word, a head of department at that, not strong enough or credible enough on which to base discipline? Because when I was in high school, any teacher ever said any student assaulted them, that student would probably be expelled, not just suspended.
Assault would never ever cross a student's mind when you were in school.
My high school principal, Mr. Price, he didn't play.
But
we got in trouble for jumping the fence one time in uniform.
Right or wrong, I knew Mr. Korcher wasn't there when I heard this whole thing was going down. He's off on 8 months leave, the leave that teachers get. His approach to discipline is totally different. I actually knew he wasn't there the moment I heard this whole hullabaloo.
So then you have eyewitness statements, which I don't know were ever sought out or taken into account. And then you have medical reports. Is that not evidence too? Because the school paid Mr. Shaw's medical bills and also paid to replace his damaged phone. So is that not an acceptance of the fact of an assault and liability, acceptance of liability for the assault as well? Yet you turn around and say you don't believe there was an assault? I don't understand how those sets of events make sense. And reading Mr. Shaw's personal story in the Observer yesterday, man, that it actually brought tears to my eyes, reading what his life story has been, what has brought him to this point. Because he is one of two teachers who also teaches robotics. And he said that data will also show that their CSEC passes have improved since he's been at the school in the past 4 years in those subjects. So let me just read a section of the story in the Observer yesterday. It says he noted that his passion for teaching started when he would assist children in and around his community with their homework while he attended Kingston Technical High School and UTech. Shaw, who grew up in a tough inner-city community off Red Hills Road, said it was his way of giving back, given the fact that he was raised by a woman who took him in as her own after his biological mother left him on the road with a patty bag containing a nappy and a pack of powdered milk when he was 3 months old because of his skin condition. If you've seen photos of him, he has vitiligo. So it continues. The teacher, who grew up with 11 siblings, said his adopted mother never made him feel any less of a person than his brothers and sisters. Notwithstanding the financial challenges his mother faced raising them, Shaw said they had to go to school rain or shine. He said even when lunch money was not forthcoming, the bus fare was sure because education was her priority. She made me have confidence in myself because she always emphasized that growing up in society, people will view you for what they see before trying to get to know you. And it's for you to display yourself in a manner that you are as equal as any and better than any, he said, adding that she always re-emphasized values, morals, and education. Shaw shared that he harbors no regrets about what he's been doing for Calabar and will continue to do his best. He said, I am the teacher who takes students to my home, students I know I can help. Every child who comes to this house makes it to university. Every child who comes to this house from Calabar High School makes it to university, he stressed. And I'm saying if that's not a dedicated and highly motivated teacher, I don't know what is.
And
Good.
do you not know the character of the teacher? You trust him enough to make him HOD, right? He never just got to Calabar. He's been there for some time. Do you not know the integrity and the caliber of teacher that you've hired to be able to go on the merit of his word?
And not just that, but good physics teachers, STEM teachers, science and mathematics teachers are extremely difficult to find in the first place. You have a gem in Mr. Shaw, a rare treasure. And this is how you treat him?
I wouldn't have to face reality. People are people, and wrongly so. Is a star mentality. People don't want to punish stars. Stars must always get star treatment. And it's not right.
It's not right at all. Do better, Calabar. That's what's on my mind.